You know what was one of the one things that always got me as playing a hunter was that when I was trying to get my like legendary, I think it was an epic, like I think it was called like Rock de la or something. It was this bow that I really wanted to get, and you needed to kill these three demons in order to progress through the quest line to get this bow. And these three demons were some of the hardest fights I think I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like one demon, you just kited a very long time, which wasn't too bad. But like you could get ganked while you're kiting it, and it's through the mountains. So like you sometimes you can't like climb all the way up and stuff. It was crazy. It was the craziest boss fight ever, but it was epic because if anyone tried to help you fight these demons, they would get scared and like run away or something like that. And so if you haven't played a hunter in classic WoW, I think that alone I just think that was such an awesome experience. Like I'd highly recommend that to anyone. That was one of the demons. Another one of the demons was even crazier. You needed a warlock to duel you. Your faction side warlock needed to duel you. Put on Curse of Recklessness so that you couldn't be feared, because this boss would basically fear you, and you really couldn't interrupt it for whatever reason. Maybe you could one time, but he'd eventually get the fear off no matter what. So you needed to have Curse of Recklessness, which would basically, if you're not familiar with Curse of Recklessness, that gives you I think like bonus like strength or melee attack power or something, or maybe just attack power, and it makes it so you're immune to fear. And then what you do is you throw on Cheetah, and that's how you basically kite him. And you can't really kite him like just straight. I think you need to like circle around him or something. I forget why, but there are these little scarabs all over this guy. He's a dreadlord, right? And he's got all these little scarabs going everywhere. And basically, if you get feared into the scarabs while you have Cheetah, like the fight's over, you're gonna die. And that's another one of the demon fights. And so you have to get Curse of Recklessness cast on you before you start the fight, because again, any sort of interaction outside of you and the demon, he'll just despawn. And then the third demon was actually really hard for me. Down in in Ungaro Crater. Okay, this demon was crazy. She was like shooting lightning and was so ranged attack, and all the guides online said you have to melee her down, have two one-handers, and just be like hacking away, and get a shaman to bloodlust you before the fight, and like you need to have like potions and buffs, and you just need to melee her because her ranged attacks are just way too strong. And that's the only way to defeat this third demon. And I think another strategy, and you had like Mongoose Bite, Raptor Strike, and like that was pretty much how you did. That was the guide online. Another guide I think said like, oh, if you just drain all of her mana away, then you can like fight her ranged, because I think it was all like she could use a ranged only like chain lightning ability that did a ton of damage. I don't know, I remember dying after having Bloodlust cast on me, or it wasn't Bloodlust, sorry, so that's not even in the game, I'm pretty sure at this point. But I remember failing it, right? I failed, I died, and I was just respawning to just like run away. And my buddy was there, and I was just gonna pull the demon or something so that we could just get away safely or something like that. I don't really remember. And then I'm just like kiting the demon, and I'm like, dude, like she's getting pretty low, like like why don't I just keep kiting? And I ended up just kiting and actually defeated that demon that way. Okay, but here's where the story gets really like sad. Okay, so that was pretty much the hardest part of this quest chain, to get Loc Delar, Roque Delar, whatever it is. The final part is to get the string of the bow, right? Like the sinew, and you needed to down Onyxia and get that sinew, and that was the only last thing that you needed to do. And I didn't do that. I couldn't get a group that could down Onyxia. And so my whole purpose of playing World of Warcraft Classic as a hunter is to go and get that legendary bow. And this is very personal. This is the most personal thing I think I've ever set out to do in my entire life, because there are many things in World of Warcraft that I did not get that I had set out to do, and this is my way of going back and getting a second chance to do that. One of those being, of course, the bow, which I just mentioned, but also really important is I never got the Beast Stalker's helm, which drops in Scholomance on the island of Sirdaro in Western Plaguelands. And this helm looks so cool. Like if you haven't seen it, like here, I just have to show it to you. It's the coolest thing. Beast Stalker's helm. It's basically a wolf pelt, like the head of a wolf. Well, these images are not quite right. Oh my gosh, dude, I wanted this so bad. I wanted this helm so bad. Okay, that's the Machnathal Beast mask. Okay, but this is really close to that's pretty much exactly what it looked like. See, so like it was this wolf pelt. Oh my god, I wanted it so bad. And I ran Scholomance like a million times trying to get this helm, and I never got it. I never saw it drop, and my brother, who played an enhanced shaman at the time, it had dropped for him, and it looked so cool. I remember he used it, so I needed to set out and get that. It worked for him too, because if you're familiar with enhanced, they can wear mail, and they pretty much share stats with what hunters are kind of looking for too. So those are two things like I never was able to accomplish, among other things. Like I did raid a little bit, but I didn't raid like crazy amounts. But those are some really important things that I have to set out, go back and do. I mean, I don't know about you. Like, do you have anything that you like went back and, or you were like, I have to go back and do these things I didn't get a chance to do? I mean, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but most likely you did. You do have things you have to go back and do. Like maybe you're going to go back and play a different class, or maybe, you know, you want to take the class that you played to the next level. You just didn't have, you know, the time or the mental capacity, or you didn't know what to do. And so it's kind of fun that Classic's going to give us all a second chance to do these things. That's those are some reasons why I'm personally really excited about World of Warcraft Classic. Now, I do want to address some really important stuff that has kind of been, in my mind, floating around on the internet, which is people saying things about World of Warcraft Classic that aren't necessarily true. I'm seeing a lot of you know, guides coming out that are claiming things that are true on the private server but are not true on, well, at least how vanilla WoW was. And again, there's so many changes that you know, Classic WoW is going to have that makes it different from vanilla WoW that was released in 2004. So a lot of it's speculation, and it's not necessarily true. It could be, but we don't know for sure. So that being said, there's some things I saw online, such as priests being able to equip quivers that are going to increase their ranged attack speed with their wand, which is a private server bug and not actually a part of the game that's supposed to function that way. But I mean, I think that's really cool that private servers that's like that. Like I would equip that. Like, how many of you would trade a bag space for just attack speed? Like 100%. Bag space to me is not as useful as leveling speed. Leveling speed is, I think, so much more important than some bag space. But I don't know. Maybe it's different for everyone. Beats me, man. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but like when in 2004 I was in school, and so I was limited in time. Granted, now I'm like working full time and I don't have the same amount of time to play, but I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. Let's play some games though. Let's play some games. Right now I'm playing, this is World of Warcraft Vanilla. This is on a private server, so there's a pretty good chance that this footage or this video will be taken down. I think that's the way YouTube does it. They don't like this crap when people make videos about private servers. Yeah, this is Elysium. I don't know. This video is probably gonna get taken down, but or no, it's not Elysium. This is Light's Hope. Light's Hope. Gosh, what is it called? I don't know, but whatever. It's a private server. Springdale, something Dale. I don't know. But I don't know. So here's a crazy idea. Okay, what if instead of playing, or instead of watching guides on like how to play classic WoW, or yeah, you could actually like go on a private server and like test it out. Granted, it's gonna be different. Said it a million times, it's gonna be different. But I don't know. Maybe that's something to consider besides watching the guides. I'm basically gonna for sure play Hunter. It's the only class I've ever played. I kind of went through and played some other classes, but that just wasn't for me. Probably because I didn't realize Hunter was like the easiest class to level. I don't know if you guys had ever leveled a Hunter or leveled a Warrior, because those two are on opposite sides of the spectrum. Warriors being considered the hardest class to level, and Hunters being considered the easiest class to level. After trying to play a warrior, after basically maining a hunter, having a hunter be my main class, like without a doubt, like I don't want to level anything else. But I always had fun with warlock. I thought warlock was pretty easy as well. Mage was pretty fun. I just hated how much you had to like drink after all like fights and stuff. So yeah, if you're trying to figure out like what class to play, like, you know, I would definitely say you cannot go wrong with playing a hunter. You cannot go wrong with playing a warlock. Mage, you're gonna be fine because you can just make food and water as much as you need. Those are the classes I can speak to because I've played them, and I can tell you like that's pretty much how it is. Wow, you know, I just realized I haven't shot my bow like at all, and I'm a hunter. But you know what? Like, yeah, I'm only gonna get a few shots anyways. I hope I didn't cause too much cringe. Just realized that I could totally have been starting these fights by shooting my bow. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that is most fun about World of Warcraft, though, that really separates it from all the other games, all the other MMOs, is that, you know, you have like the Warcraft lore, and you also have these class fantasies that are like really awesome. The one fantasy I feel like is missing is sort of Death Knight, which they fixed, or sort of like an undead type fantasy. Warlocks kind of fill that slightly, but I don't know. I feel like Death Knight did a much better job, so I feel like that's kind of missing in vanilla. But I don't know. Just the whole fantasy of having a hunter, and being a hunter is like having an animal companion. That's something I really enjoyed. You know, having an animal companion, especially since like you could name it, you could tame it, you teach it abilities, it levels with you. Makes the game a lot of fun. And I don't know about you, but like you eventually start to like care about your pet and things like that. So yeah, I really like the hunter fantasy. I also like the warlock fantasy, obviously. Like I said, you know, like the sort of like undead or like corruption or things like that type character is always fun. So warlock's a fun fantasy to play. I never really liked the mage fantasy. Like, I think it's cool. If it's for you, it's for you. But I was never really huge on being like a mage or something like that. Shaman, I think, is a cool fantasy. I actually definitely liked the paladin fantasy a lot when, especially in Burning Crusade, when blood elves could be paladins. Really liked the whole idea of being a paladin and being able to be like, oh, of the light, and like being all this like, you know, this pure person and doing the right thing and things like that. But little did I know that blood elves were totally not about that. I actually, if you read the lore, like they've captured a Naru and they're draining the light out of it. Spoiler alert, and that becomes a raid boss later in Burning Crusade because you stole all the light out of it and it's pissed off now. So yeah, that's pretty much that. That's the story of blood elves. They're pretty much bad guys. Pretty straightforward. But plot twist, can you really blame them? That's the whole thing. So if you saw Warcraft 3, like, yeah, they kind of got owned by the Undead Scourge and Arthas. And when I mean owned, I mean just like their lands were demolished, invasions moved through their lands. Or I'm sorry, like they were invaded. Are we being invaded? That's a dryad. And basically, yeah, they were invaded by the Scourge, and they just tore their way towards the Sunwell in order to revive Kel'Thuzad, which he actually used to be part of the Kirin Tor, I believe, and then after that, he was killed by Arthas when he was part of the Cult of the Damned. His remains were later gathered by Arthas and brought to the Sunwell, where he was revived as a lich. And to this day, spoiler alert, he is a one of the last bosses in Nox Ramux. So I did not raid Nax, by the way. There's some really hard things to do in vanilla. I think that could be exciting. You know, like like clearly I want to do the hunter bow thing, but maybe if once I accomplish that, I can gather like attunements. Like there's this ring that you need in order to access Upper Blackrock Spire. That attunement's very difficult. There's a lot of different attunements that are really difficult. That hunters are cool, and he's a hunter. Oops, probably should have aggroed this guy first. That's okay, we need to kill this guy. Sarkoth. Sarkoth's Mangled Claw. Do you guys remember doing this? Videos for the hordes out there. Oh, inventory's full. It's all good. Oh, I should probably equip these. This guy doesn't want to help me kill this. See how it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Pretty hyped for Classic WoW, but the main problem about Classic WoW is that the release date has not even been announced. Like, what are we supposed to do for all this time? Well, you know, well, it's not even announced. Play private server, of course. I don't know. I think if you love the game, then yeah, private server is like a good way to go. If you don't like the game, then the hype is not real. I don't know though. I have a suspicion. I don't know if it's gonna be accurate or not, but I have a suspicion that ooh, I do not want to destroy those. I have a suspicion that, I don't know. Is Classic WoW really gonna be that great? Is Classic WoW really gonna be that great? I don't know. Because we all know, you know, vanilla, and it's not gonna have that same, you know, mysteriousness to it and that same sense of unknown to it. You know, you've already done it, and plus it's not gonna be the same, for sure. But who knows? You know, I think a lot of people are still gonna like it, and a lot of people are gonna play it. But like, looking at StarCraft Brood War Remastered, wasn't quite as good as we all thought. Still a great game, still a lot of fun, but it wasn't quite as good as we thought. So, those are my thoughts on Classic WoW, and I don't know. I'm still excited for it, and I'm definitely gonna play it. So, yeah. Enjoy. Oh, get out of here! What a bastard! Did you see what he just did? Like, aggroed at first and ran away. Talk about bad. Oh my god, is this guy real? Oh no, there's another guy. It's about to be like, dude, how bad manner can you be? Getting schooled here. I'm really excited for Warcraft 3 Remastered, though. That's going to be a ton of fun for sure. I should probably be showing off my kiting skills. I was really good at kiting back when I was a hunter, man. Like, well, a vanilla, classic vanilla hunter. Alright, I'm signing off, guys. Love y'all.